What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Joe here from Lazy Lab Acres. I know it's been about 2 months since I put out a video, and I promise we're going to start getting on a more regular video upload schedule. And I'm able to do that now because I'm not a cop anymore. So, my last day with the PD was September 15th, so it's been a little over a month now that I have been running my own show. Some other life updates. The house still isn't done yet. We're hoping in the next 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 5 or 6, who knows, we'll get into the house and I'll be setting up a new shop and really starting to get into a groove of being my own boss, running my own schedule, being around family more and all that good stuff. Right now it's a little hectic. I'm at the tiny house. Jamie is at my mother-in-law's house, which is 2 houses down from my parents' house because they're helping us with childcare. So Jamie stays there during the week because it doesn't make sense for her to drive to drop Emmylou off and drive back to work. So we're doing that. So that's added a little wrench into the mix. I'm doing things here. I'm working on the house with my dad, and then I'm helping my dad with some of his jobs that he has, kitchen installs and that kind of stuff. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of being here, there, everywhere. It's a lot. So I don't think I've been able to enjoy the full benefit of being self-employed and being my own boss yet. So we'll get there, but we're not there yet. So for those of you wondering, I was a police officer for 6 years, 3 years in the city of Durham, and 3 years in the town of Wake Forest. And that is not the college of Wake Forest, that is the town north of Raleigh. Two areas very far apart from each other. I loved being a police officer. I was a patrol officer for all 6 years. I was good at it. And it was an earlier exit than I wanted, but for the last few years, the goal has been to be my own boss and at the time take Blue Line Woodworks full time, and then it changed to Lazy Lab Acres. And so the sights have been set on taking it full time, but I was always considering taking a part-time spot, and the last year and a half or so just kind of deteriorated that, and if I don't have to go back in, I won't go back in. Partly I don't want to sit here and badmouth the departments I worked for because nothing good comes of that, and it only makes me look like an ass. But the biggest factors for me getting out when I did, poor leadership is really the big one. Just in North Carolina, it's you got to give 30 years of your life as a public servant to be able to retire and get your benefits. And that doesn't even include, you don't get health benefits anymore. I wouldn't have gotten health benefits if I stayed for 30 years. So you give so much and you take so much away from your own family to give to whatever jurisdiction you're working for. And there's not enough give back, in my opinion. It is a thankless job, everybody knows that. But that doesn't mean that internally the PD can't treat its employees as they should be. So poor leadership is a main reason why I got out. I was tired. I'm a smart person. I was tired of incompetent people telling me what to do. That's what it comes down to. I go day to day and survive on common sense, and when that is not being projected and executed on a daily basis when I'm at work risking my life and being away from my family, I just kind of got to the point where I didn't want any part of it anymore. So like I said, I don't want to badmouth the departments. If you want to get up with me offline about either, I'll be happy to discuss them, especially if you're seeking employment at either. I will give you a 100% no filter answer, not the recruiter's answer to your questions, anything like that. I'll give you a real answer. My time in Durham was invaluable. The city is a mess, riddled with gang violence and just a bad environment outside of like the nice downtown area and the few like nice neighborhoods. But the city hates the police, and their funding sucks, and they lose officers like crazy. I was one of those statistics, and I thought the grass was going to be greener in Wake Forest, and it wasn't. It's just a different zip code. They don't have a whole lot of problems over there, so they create their own. A lot of micromanaging, and just like there doesn't seem to be a genuine thought of like really appreciating their people and wanting to give their officers everything they can to be healthier and more effective and safer. They just don't seem to do it. They're very resistant to change. And so I didn't want to give 24 more years of my life to that, because unfortunately there's a lot of people within the ranks that are going to fill spots when current administrators leave, and in my opinion, it's just not going to be any different. So it's bitter. I'm definitely bitter about it. You can tell, because I like law enforcement. Being a police officer, you got a front row seat to the greatest show on earth. You see real problems, and although it can make you a little jaded and think that the world is more messed up than it actually is, it does give you a perspective of what's real, instead of seeing all the bull crap that floats around on social media every day. So I did love the job. I've gained valuable life experience from it, a lot of communication skills, de-escalation skills. But it's time to focus on my family and myself. That's where we're at. So we have a lot of stuff in the works. We're super, super excited to get into the house. Emmylou is growing fast, and that has been an awesome experience so far. And I'm genuinely looking forward to just being her dad and getting to be around and not having to work nights. And if I want to be there for bath time, I can be there for bath time. So that's where we're at. We have a ton of projects coming, both outside and inside. Before we moved, we basically sold all of our furniture. So I think the only thing that we have is a coffee table, and that is a previous video that I made. So I'm going to be doing dining table, barn doors, built-ins, our closet, our pantry. Like, there's so much stuff, and there's so many things for me to film, which is awesome. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with y'all. And then outside, we're starting like a little mini farm. So I have a lot of clearing to do to create some pasture, and we're gonna get the chickens and ducks out there. We'll probably take it easy this winter, but in the springtime I think we'll be adding some animals. But you guys can follow along, you'll see that. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. It's one day at a time over here. But I did ask over on Instagram if anybody had any questions concerning my exit from law enforcement or anything like that, and the main theme seemed to be, the main question rather, was, have I seen any physical or mental changes since leaving? And that is a big roger that. Mentally, I just stress about different things. I like to think that it's more like a normal person. So now the biggest stressor is finances. And I think that's probably the biggest stressor for everybody, outside of being in a dangerous job. But mentally, I think it's easier for me to relax now. It's only been a month, so I don't think I'm really getting the majority of the benefits yet. I think it's going to take me a little bit longer, but being on a regular schedule and being awake when the sun is out and going to sleep when the sun is not out has been really nice. Physically, I have more energy. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know I've been posting my little daily workout things. It's mainly to keep myself accountable, but I do seem to have more energy, especially first thing. Once I can get my butt out of bed, then I'm good. But I think overall, just general health-wise, I feel better, more clarity. If you've noticed, if I've been smacking my gum, I've been trying not to. I stopped using smokeless tobacco as well, like right after I left the PD. So if I'm not around other folks that are doing it and I don't buy it, then I can't use it. So I'm not saying I'm quitting, but we're gonna give it a break. And so a little over a month so far. So I apologize if I'm doing this in the future. But yes, that's it. I don't really want to sit here and blabber and do all that, but it was a tough choice to leave when I did, because our house isn't done. You know, it's a little hectic. The shop isn't ideal, especially when I'm trying to pay bills with what I make in here. So, but it just got to the point where I had enough. One too many calls where I decided I don't want to be a part of the organization anymore. And there's a lot of good people that are still there. A lot of good people that I hope they find something else that treats them better and makes them happier. Because there's a lot of people that just show up and get the paycheck and go home, and they're not concerned about improving themselves or the others around them. And you can't be like that in law enforcement, and unfortunately that mindset is sucking the soul out of so many good officers, and it's a damn shame. So if you're one of those officers that shows up to get your paycheck and go home, do everybody a favor and realize that you need to go do something else. Because I kind of got to that point where I was just showing up, where I knew that I wanted to do this full time. So I started asking myself, for what? Is it worth it for me to go risk my... And the answer continued to be no for me, that it wasn't worth it anymore for me. So I stepped away right when that became apparent to me, because I wasn't going to do anybody any good sitting there and just trying to hold out until our house was done, or for whenever. It was just time for me to go. So yeah, excited, scared, unsure of what the future holds, but we're going to take it one day at a time. We're glad you guys are going to hopefully stick around with us, but I'm hoping that one video every 2 weeks. Hopefully we can get it to once a week. I don't think that's unrealistic, but we got to get in the house. We got to get into a groove, especially with, you know, the baby. We got to get a little semi-routine going, because we still don't have one right now. I mean, we can't. I'm in a tiny house, and Jamie is 45 minutes away, so we're still living the nomad lifestyle. But the tiny house is for sale, so if you know somebody that wants to buy a tiny house, send them my way. They can come hook it up to their truck and take it away, so I can finance a shop. But that's it. I just wanted to check in, let you guys know that this is the full-time gig now, so we appreciate your support more than ever now. So like our videos, share them with your friends. If you got any questions or general comments, leave them below. And sub to the channel if you haven't already. It just sounded funny when I said that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We appreciate it. And yeah, Lazy Lab Acres. It's full time. Let's go.